Everybody, welcome to the panel. This is the name of this panel is "Everybody is a Critic," and what the general topic is a conversation of what it's like to be a new media critic, pretty much these days. Because you've got outlets, everything from the very, very small, first starting out, they get 50 views, maybe ever, up to the larger million views a month, and kind of how relationships and how you kind of have to work, whether it be with events, whether it be with industries, whether it be gaming, film, television, and like kind of the importance of networking, and how do you balance out giving a really bad review versus pissing off the rep, and kind of weigh those balances and how to build up basically journalistic credibility, while at the same time you've got to build those relationships. Let's go down doing introductions. My name's Bill Waters. I write for Bleeding Cool and TrekMovie.com. Have a history of a number of other outlets, but those are the main writers places right now, and my main focus is on television and film.
Marianne Butler, editor-in-chief for AggressiveComics.com, have also written for Geek Magazine, actual physical magazine, which was awesome.
They do that?
Well, they did.
Yeah.
They did. Shut up.
You mean like on a tablet?
No! Like the kind you can get paper cuts from and stuff. It was great. Anyhow.
I'm Gwendolyn Reza. I am a reporter at Aggressive Comics. This is my boss.
Hi.
And I also write for Ace of Geeks occasionally.
Hi, I'm Joey Ferris. I write and do videos for Reactor.com, and I also do my own videos on YouTube.com/Ferriswheel Productions. This is my first panel, so get ready for cringe.
Yeah, well done.
Welcome to the party.
Oh, thanks.
I'm Jeramie Clark. I do a local web show called An Idiot's Array, and that's pretty much it.
I'm Cory Vincent. I am also a writer. I'm the NorCal content coordinator. They made that up. For NerdReactor.com, as well as the founder and co-host of Videogame Bang, Sacramento's #1 video game podcast.
So how did you, on Videogame Bang, how did you get started? As in, the first time you were getting folks to give you interviews, did you go directly to the game companies, or were you hitting conventions and such like that?
We actually started because we wanted to be somewhat of a media, press outlet, so we started interviewing other press and media people. We would do top 10 articles and then just butcher them, and we wanted to have the people who wrote them come on our show and kind of defend them. And so we found out that was not a good way. That was a way to make people angry. We had a guy, super nice guy, we ended up being friends, we're still friends to this day, up in Washington, who came on, defended his article, and actually threw down some very good points. We went back and forth. It made for a great podcast. Then Janice Davis, who's here, maybe some of you guys saw her downstairs. She did our panel. She wrote a book, and we critiqued the book and stuff and had her on, and it opened up more and more doors. We did the same thing with a writer from Nerd Reactor, and that's how we got our foot in the door. She had an article about a cosplayer who was in some scandal, and Aaron and I have been fighting about it for weeks. We had her on our show. Had some really good back and forth. We were like, this girl's educated. She's really cool. She showed us about Nerd Reactor. We sent some messages back and forth, and that's how we joined the team.
And Jeramie, you've been doing more comedic videos and things like that. It's been kind of your gist. How did you get engaged with all of that?
Just wanting to do it. Just wanting to do it, really. And then we just showed up one day. I think it was SAC Anime. It was the first con that we showed up, and we're like, hey, can we get press? And so it just kind of snowballed from there.
Did you have a goal in mind when you started as to what you wanted to do, or you just wanted a free badge?
To be honest, I thought cosplay was really cool, and I thought at the time most of the media directed towards cosplay was kind of nasty and negative, and I didn't understand that because I thought it was cool. Since then, it's that's been filled in everywhere. I mean, those nasty negative guys still are out there and still getting millions and millions of hits for being terrible, but the noise has been kind of filled in since then. So I started out because we were actually doing a variety of things, not just cons, just testing the waters, but then kind of got so into it that it snowballed. Now it's pretty much all cons.
Gotcha. And yourself, how did you get involved?
How did I get involved? Well, in Nerd Reactor, my friend Sen, who is no longer with Nerd Reactor, he said he was writing for that website, so I'm like, how do I do it? And he said, oh, contact John. And so I did, and here I am.
Do you have a background in games, or just a fan?
Yes, I've had a YouTube channel since 2010 where I've done game reviews, and as of recently, I've actually been turning my game reviews into kind of like Angry Video Game Nerd type ones where I incorporate live action into them, because it's like, I don't want to be like, just show gameplay footage and narrate over it. I want to be exciting, so that's how I do it.
And that is kind of where the evolution is progressing, as you get content, but then you need to differentiate your product from the next 10,000 people.
That's the tough part.
And how has that been working for you?
It's been working out great.
Yeah.
I'm at a strong 630 subscribers, so no.
289.
Right, that's how we do it.
But isn't it exciting as you see those numbers go up? It's like, wow, yeah. Or the spike when you put out a new video, it's not watching your counter going up, tick, and you can text and go, thanks, Mom. But now it's like you get a few hundred views on the first few days because people subscribe to the channel.
Exactly.
Or you're wondering if you're doing it when you're refreshing.
Yeah. I don't come out with videos that often, like once or twice a month, just because I'm busy with other things. But even then, every day, it's nice to get the email saying, so-and-so subscribed to you on YouTube. So I'm like, ego boost. It's great.
Do you have people that, from the content that you've reviewed, did they ever reach back out to you?
Mainly just like the independent games. I reviewed this awful game by some one dude, and so his friend came to me and said, here's a review code for my game, and then I never wound up playing it because it was trash.
Joey's very humble. He's
I'm
like
super
constantly at industry events, like all the time. He just got back from E3. Like he's all over the place.
Yeah, that was my first E3. It was great. I played Zelda.
Did you set everything on fire?
You should have set everything on fire.
No, I did not. I wanted to play the story, but yeah.
So Gwen, how did you get started into it?
So I spent a lot of time in college figuring out what I wanted to do, and it always came back to writing. It always did. And life got in the way, and I had to, work to survive and all that other stuff. And it's only been in the last year and a half, 2 years, that I've been able to do what I want, which is write. And the things that I'm passionate about mainly tend to be nerd-related things, comic books, science fiction, fantasy. It's where my heart lies. And so it's, what's the quote? Write what you know. So I write what I know whenever I get the chance.
And Ms. Bab?
I started writing music reviews for Power Slave when I was in high school. So that was a thing, because Sacramento and Stockton had a tremendous music scene once upon a time ago. I know that Sacramento is still good, but Stockton used to be equally good. So I used to do album reviews and live show reviews, and I would do interviews also. And it kind of went from there to taking journalism in college, going, what you mean I could actually do something with this thing that I like to do? And it's just kind of gone from there. We do conventions for photography most of the time, but then I found out that, cool, I could write stuff about this. I could do interviews here. I could watch shows that no one's watched yet, and I could write about them and tell people that they're great, or that they suck, or that they should give it another chance. And that's how I got into it.
It always seems like it's an ongoing challenge with, almost you can't win for trying, because I've seen reviewers get taken to task for liking something, they get taken to task for hating something, and right down to between death threats, and especially almost on the indie scene, where people are you figure you write a bad review on the professional side, EA or CBS will think, it's part of the course, but if it's an indie project, it's like you kick their puppy, because it's kind of like we watch people going on to American Idol, and people have always told them their entire lives that they can sing. And then they get up there in front of everybody and try and sing, and it's kind of like someone stepped on a cat, and it's yowling. This same kind of thing with people making a game. Everyone told them that this game was awesome, but no, it's just dog meat. But they're so proud of it. How do you guys deal with the negativity of the trolls?
I just ignore them.
Yeah? Just let them go?
It's really easy for me. I don't know about the rest of them. I also don't get that many negative comments. Never gotten anything too bad or too personal. But I'm just like, you just want attention. Go, bye-bye.
It's something you just kind of acclimate to. Like, I remember the first few articles I did that were kind of unpopular opinions. I tend to critique the things that I love the most the hardest. So like Fallout 4, I love the game. I'd rate it high, but still there's things I didn't like. And so when people are like, this guy's just a effing hater, and this guy's this or that, he doesn't know the series. Like, I know the series forwards and backwards. That's the reason I hate it so much. and you just discovered the game like 2 months ago. And the other thing is there's just a lot of headline, and then they don't read your article. Like, you know, you'll put time and effort into your headline, and, you know, you have data and facts and opinions that justify it. And then in the comments, they'll type a comment longer than your article, critiquing something. You're like, yeah, dude, check paragraph 2. I said that exact same thing. Like, I led with that, you bastard. Go back and look at it. So over time, you really, like Joey said, just start to tune them out. You just do your thing. And actually, the fact that they're commenting only helps you. You know, you kind of realize that even the most venting. I did a lot of articles on the video game Destiny. You guys hear about that one? Mm-hmm. The game's been out for like 2 years, and still an article on Destiny will just get you so much mixed. If it's a positive article, you'll get negative stuff. If you write a negative article, you get even more negative stuff. So it's like, it all helps. It's kind of weird.
Jeramie, with your videos that you've been doing, what kind of, I guess, audience have you picked up for that as far as recurring?
That's the thing, is that it's hard to gauge my audience because the subscriber base isn't very high, but view counts will be high. And so I'm like, well, they're not wanting to come back, but they watched it.
Because you have a lot of famous cosplayers who just want to get videos, who just want to see them.
Well, I do know that, like, depending on the con too, like, for instance, San Diego, I'll just do like a burst of San Diego content for the weeks leading up to San Diego, get hundreds of followers, but then they just drop off the day after the con's over. So, I don't know. You guys are my repeat viewers.
I watch them all.
If you like someone's content, just follow them.
Cosplay and pizza with cosplay.
Yeah, I like to feed cosplayers. I was actually supposed to have brownies this weekend, but I didn't get them in time.
What kind of brownies?
Bacon.
Okay.
Bacon brownies.
Mine's in my fridge.
Oh, you got yours? Yeah.
That's the one thing I can say about Jeramie's videos that I love. Like, and I recommend this to everybody who gets out there. Do original stuff. Like, Jeramie's been an inspiration for our channel too, because we see him going out there doing like the pizza and the donuts and stuff. So we're like, man, that's original. The carpool thing with the cosplayers. Like,
Yeah, James Corden beat me to it by a few weeks.
yeah, but you got it, man. So like, do your own thing. Be original. Don't do the same thing. That's why this week we did the paperclip challenge at the convention. So we gave 2 guys paper clips and had them run around the convention center and try and trade up to the coolest thing. Like, if that video doesn't make it, I give up on YouTube. We just burn YouTube down. Like,
Doing the paperclip one, what happens if one of them actually shows up with a house?
well,
That's what happened. That's what the original,
If a guy could
That'd be
take a
viral thing.
paperclip to Comic-Con and walk away with a house in an hour and a half,
that'd be great.
it's too good for us.
It's your whole comment about doing things original. We were just at Drunk History not too long ago, and there was a person who got up during Q&A and said, hey, we're going to start doing a web series called Drunk Star Trek. And his advice, get something freaking original. It's kind of like, what, you get in front and say, hey, we're going to steal your shtick. And, what do you have to say about that? Don't do that. Not the best way to make friends. And there's so many copycatters out there, and it really goes down to both the people who first came up with it, but also kind of like the quality of whether it be production, what kind of questions you ask. Are they all fluff questions, or are you actually digging in and taking a look as to, can you justify your positions? I liked this movie. Okay, great, why? And it's fine, everybody has their own position, but just be able to clearly enunciate exactly where your positions are coming from. That way, it takes a lot of oomph out of the haters, because they can disagree, that's great, but at least you've given your position as to why.
No, it doesn't take the umph out.
No?
No, it doesn't.
What happens?
Okay, so for me it's different because I do written content, I don't really do video content, and anytime I write any type of position, whether I liked it or hated it, I will get emails right away about, well, you don't know what you're talking about, you're just a girl, you don't know anything, and it's like, I thought we were past this, man. And it's that thing where you work on your title and you make sure that all of your information is in the piece, and then people will just go off the title. I write up a lot of casting announcements. I get crap every time I post a casting announcement. Well, how dare you say this? I'm just telling you that someone has been cast in a role. I did not pick them. I did not.
You're not the
direct
casting
this.
director.
This is what's happening. Well, you're a horrible human being. Okay.
People are idiots.
Thank you, Internet. Thank you.
Well,
But
go ahead.
that kind of happened to me with Apocalypse, that I didn't hate it as much as other Bryan Singer X-Men films, because I hate X1, X2, X3. The only one I like is First Class. And so I said this, but I liked Apocalypse. There were parts of it I really liked. It was like, cool, finally we get these characters the way they're supposed to be, ish. And of course,
Yeah, let's
I all
say
of a
that
sudden...
for a different panel.
Oh, I know. But the point was that I said why I felt this way, and 90% of the comments and emails I got on it, well, you didn't say why you didn't like this thing. You didn't say why you liked this thing. I did, actually. Do you know how to read? Don't ask them that.
Trolls are not famous for reading the detail or having very selective vision.
Oh,
They'll
man.
pluck out exactly. It's kind of like they're reading the language from Peanuts, the parents from Peanuts. Didn't like, and they'll say, screw you, hippie, and they've missed everything else that you happen to throw in there. When you guys are going to conventions, how's the reaction to, let's say, more, as you can kind of continually to kind of trade up, because that's a little bit of what the experience of being a new media journalist is. You start doing small stuff and then you progressively work your way up. You can become more known. You kind of polish your craft as it were through various routes. What kind of response do you guys get from professionals? Do you get the feeling that they kind of feel you out as to whether or not this person really legitimate, or are they just fly by night? Or is everyone give you pretty much open doors?
Interviewing cosplayers a lot, which I do, I always can tell right away that they're sitting there wondering if I'm going to say something super rude to them.
Right.
Because that's such a thing. I've built relationships with enough of them that repeat interviews are always a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah.
Because they know I'm not there to exploit them in the worst way imaginable. So that's normal.
So you actually go into interviews and you get the vibe that they're going into each interview kind of feeling like they're just waiting for the Butler shoe to drop?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do you
I'm
remember
sure he
that
does
New
it,
York?
too.
No, I remember.
With the black cat?
Mhm.
That was the worst.
What was it?
The New York Comic-Con interview with the Black Cat cosplayer from 2 years ago, where the guy starts asking her about her boobs.
Yep.
And it started out like a regular professional, so how long have you been cosplaying? Where are you from? Are your boobs real?
And then it
her
goes from there.
face was just like, are you serious?
There's a very prominent, I'm not going to say any names, but a very prominent YouTuber, and I see him in SoCal mostly. And, I can't stand the guy. I glare at him when I
Oh,
walk
is
by.
this the schmo who always does shit? He'll embarrass whoever he's in front of.
He says really rude stuff and may have been in Transformers 4. I walked by. You picked the one person not in Transformers 4.
Sorry.
I walked by him and he was legitimately telling some young girl in cosplay, "Oh, I think cosplay is consent."
Whoa.
Whoa.
One thing you don't
That's
say.
a big no.
He's just gross.
These guys do exist, though. They do. And I have experienced a lot of them at anime shows, primarily. I haven't gotten nearly as many comments at Comic-Con, WonderCon, the bigger comic-based ones, but the anime shows, there are definitely those guys running around.
Mm-hmm.
Down at E3, how was your experience with regards to, again, getting access for doing reviews of games, or even whether it be getting into parties or just getting into press conferences?
Well, Cory went to a lot of parties, but we didn't go to any press conferences. It's, I don't know how that works, per se. Nerd Reactor's big, but not as big as we want it to be. And Cory, do you even know what the process is?
Well, the thing is, at things like E3, as a media person, you don't stand out because it's a media event.
Exactly.
So you're just one of the crowd.
Right.
You don't get too many special. There are people that do pay to go there, and they have exhibitor only.
It's not worth it. Don't pay to
But
go E3.
all you get with a press badge at E3 is a free lunch. That's about it, and some Wi-Fi.
I've never gotten a free lunch.
Sorry.
The party things, it just depends on the outlet. Like the IGN one, they don't let nobody in. You have to know somebody to get into those. The rest of them, they throw kind of parties every once in a while, and they're very good for networking. I definitely recommend. If you want to be in this industry, you have to learn to network. It's something I have not been too good at until recently, but you drink a few, your charisma skills go up a little bit, and that's how you start making friends. And then you see them at the event the next day, up in front of the line, and they're like, "Yeah, come up here," and then now you just cut everyone in line, and you learn to be a real scumbag in the media industry. Oh man, I've cut so many lines. It feels so good to cut you suckers. Oh, sorry.
San Diego, one thing about them as well for press badge means jack squat. You get nothing. You don't get in early. You just get invited to stand in the back of the line with everybody else. Granted, Hall H, if you do manage to get in through the regular line, there's a cattle pen down at the front that if you're super tall, like all I can see of her is arms sticking out of the middle of this pod of photographers up front.
I'm lucky.
It's a rough experience out there. It's definitely there's those shows that know that they're kind of a seller's market. Like E3, like San Diego, that knows that they've got 10,000 media there. They don't have to be nice. They don't have to share or anything like that. And then it's that working your way up until you know the people, whether it be the ones at IGN or the Nerdist or whatever party you happen to be throwing, and schmooze your way in there.
Well, that gets into finding the representatives of who you want to talk to.
Yeah.
Like, if there is a particular panel that you really want to go cover, or that somebody from a show or a book or a game that you really want to interview, if you go track down their media person, their PR firm, whoever handles them, more often than not, they will probably say yes, no matter what your level is. If you write a good enough letter, email, whatever, they will give you the chance, or at least that's what it's been in my experience so far.
Yeah, we've had any number of press rooms where we're in there on the interview lines where they said, well, we don't really have room for you, but come on in and we'll see what we can do. And then MTV didn't show up. It's like, here's your spot on the video line. You stand here.
This is the difference, though, between written and video content, I think, because any of the press rooms, roundtables, interviews that I have been in, if you are a jerk, you are not let back in. If you cut in a line, you are not let back in. And so I found that being nice works better in that instance. Like, if you're at a table like this and we're all waiting for a guy to come in and talk to us, and we're going to take handwritten notes, and people don't have pens, I always have extra pens just for that reason. So I can go, hey, here, have pens. Be nice.
Or
it doesn't cost you anything. Just be nice.
And if you're sitting in a circle around, when you're in press situations, a lot of times you've got really two setups. You've got the video line that stands up with step and repeat, kind of like this, and the video crews will sit up and they'll do their interviews. Or you've got 10-person roundtables, and so you'll have your talent at one edge of it, and then you have written and audio record press around the rest of it. And then sometimes at those rounds, you'll have that one reporter that will hog the entire session with that person, and everyone's just after the session because they're going to be polite in front of the talent, but then as soon as the talent steps away, that the rest of the press pick the person up, drag him out back, and kick the squat out of him. Just because, you can shut up.
Example. Comic-Con. Adam Baldwin had just had that giant Twitter meltdown against women, right? And so he's doing a press room for The Last Ship, and we're all sitting at the table going, okay, so we're all not going to ask him, right?
Because that was the request.
Because the press rep said, please don't ask about this. We will get you a statement, just don't ask about it. And so we're all like, okay, we're cool, right? We're not going to ask? All right, awesome, let's do this thing. He sits down, this one lady just goes, okay, so about Twitter. And you hear the room just go, oh. And it was a person who has done it in so many different press rooms. Just a problem child.
And that's when they become more rare at those. Same thing with photographers and stuff like that. But different areas. But it goes to, because I'm always fascinated on the gaming side, because I'm in the gaming industry on a day job, so I don't write about it just kind of by my own NDAs, and I don't want to get into that I don't want to deal with legal. And so in going to shows like E3, how do you guys pick up things that you want to go after? Because so many people are all covering the keynotes. Do you guys go after the keynotes as well, or do you go after the, either genres that interest you specifically, or how do you guys differentiate your product?
For me, personally, in the days leading up to, I was handling travel and stuff, and as the shows were coming out, I didn't touch any of those because anybody with an internet connection and Microsoft Word, not even, WordPad or something, could have hit those stories and hit those points, and people in NR had that taken care of. I figure you got to try and offer them something that Joe Blow can't get, and so I went into these hands-ons. Got hands-on as many games as possible, and didn't, because a lot of these games aren't finalized, so the big part's not going in there and being like, oh, record, this game's total garbage, it's bootsy. I want to go in there and say exactly my gameplay experience, unbiased, this is how the ammo works, this This is how long it took. This is the boss, and these are the mechanics. And that's something you can't get through watching the videos, you know. So I tried to hit up Titanfall. All the games I did, it was just my unbiased, hands-on. This is what to sort of expect, not finalized, but try and give them something they couldn't. You know, that's stuff I'd be looking for.
And also, that would feel like it's coming from a gamer.
Yeah.
You know, sort of description you get from a gamer, not necessarily for someone who's read just the press spread kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I also like to give the indies some love too, because they're trying to put their name out there. And
Yeah.
it's like, I know what it's like. I want to put my name out there too. So I help them out a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So far, the only hands-on I've written from my E3 experience is Zelda. So
Game, Joey.
Step my game up. I know.
Giving that poor, obscure Zelda game all the press.
That game needs the attention, Joey.
It was the number one searched game of the entire show.
I've never played a Zelda game, and I got hyped for that. This looks cool.
It's so good. But there's this game I played called Fury. It's going to be a PS4 indie title, Fury.
Like
or
Brad
R-I.
Pitt?
What?
Like the Brad Pitt movies?
No.
The adaptation?
No. No. And I look forward to writing that one because that was actually really good, and I'm looking forward to giving that game some exposure. It's like nothing but boss battles and like it's like Bruce Lee's Game of Death.
Oh,
But in space.
In the media realm, working with indies and people were on the upswing, there's like no downfall. Like, why don't you do it? Because you work with them, you know, give them as much love as possible, and then I can't even count the times where that person has gone on to work at Microsoft or do these greater things. Now I have buddies that have moved on from the indie scene into AAA, and just investing in them and helping them, they remember you. Like when they had their first game and you were giving it love and reviewing it, podcasting about it. Once they're up there, I went up to Washington and had like lunch with a dude who, from his he had his college game. We covered it because it was perfect. Like, it was an awesome game. He since moved on to like be working on Xbox, and so we got to connect up there. Like, it's just Janice Davis, you know, her book just came out. We started talking to her and being friends. Now she works at Wizard World and hooks us up big time when it comes to these events. So you just start meeting people lower. You come up and you do the same for them. There's people who we've got into the conventions who weren't able to get access for whatever reason. We just say they're our crew, and they come in, and you just all help each other out. It's just we all want the same thing. You know, we're all gunning to be the next IGN. We're all gunning to be the next big personality in media, in podcasting or YouTube. So how can you be against somebody who has the same goals as you? I hate it when like YouTubers hate on other YouTubers or podcasters put down other podcasters. It's like we're all trying to get to the same place, people. We're all got the same dream that we're grinding for every single day. You know, you got to respect that. You know, we're more alike than we are different.
Sure.
Do you think it's a better approach for a person to start with their own website, YouTube channel, that kind of approach, and just build themselves up, or to join in with a collective, whether it be a small media outlet and kind of grow it that way?
Well, for us, like, we were podcasting, and we hit podcasts hard. We loved it. We hit the audio quality standards. Like, we started becoming nerds over this thing. Over not just general nerds, we were podcast nerds. We found Nerd Reactor through a guest we had, again, just another person on the up. We listened to their podcast tab. They had a podcast network tab. We were like, these guys sound like booty. Like, their audio quality is garbage, and these guys are a big deal. Like, so I sent a message, like, I will help tutor you guys in audio quality and podcasting standards, and you scratch our back, get us into some more conventions, because honestly, as just a podcast, it's hard to start, you know, and writing isn't my thing. I can't write articles every day. These guys, opposite. They have a great writing network, but they don't have podcasters. So it was totally mutually beneficial. So I can stay in my specialty and help them.
Nice.
They can just add to their already growing media. So it depends. I always love collaborations.
Mm-hmm. Collaborations can really help. Collaborations are what got my channel up skyrocketing from like 300 to 600 in like a matter of months. Always collaborate. Don't be afraid to reach out to anybody, no matter how big or small. It can really help you in the long run.
And the worst they can ever really do is say no.
Exactly.
You know, they're not going to say...
They're not going to screenshot the email and post it on Twitter saying, this guy, what is he?
Yeah, look at that. Well, as long as you spell check. If you do a fascinatingly bad way of asking or spell it terribly, you might get some internet fame. But, you know, that can be, you know, kind of a jive in its own sort. It's just, you know, be professional, be nice. Say, actually, like you said, on starting with your podcast, like say what kind of skills you bring to the table or what your niche is. When I've had a great deal of luck on, because there's so many people that write on TV and movie space, but when I hit up new outlets, I mentioned that, I mean, I've got a niche towards indie crowdfunding productions right now. And so it's like, yeah, I'll do the stuff from Fox and Warner Brothers and all that, but since they probably have people already covering that, I'll cover their cast-offs, and I'll cover, really, again, that indie scene, which both is kind of less sexy, but also a lot of them just don't know it because they haven't been bouncing around it. Gwen, what about you?
In regards to...
Yes, so you got in as, getting back into writing again recently with Ace of Geeks and with Aggressive Comics. How did that happen? Oh.
I wanted to do it for a really long time. It was connections, making friends, like she said. It doesn't ever hurt to be nice, and I try to be nice and warm and welcoming to everyone I meet, and it's really about connection and collaboration, like you said.
And for writing, it's having a good voice.
Yeah. Finding your voice is important.
That's super important. For video content, it's the same thing, where you have your style, your way of presenting things, your way of talking about things. Writing's the exact same thing. You have your way of talking to people. Some say, you guys, or some say, hey, friends. It's just that the way that you find you're most comfortable talking to whatever your audience may be. And Gwen and I were talking about a movie or a TV series, and she was just really passionate about it, and I said, you should write for me. You make good words.
I try.
You make good words.
You do English good.
She does. And then because of that, I sent her on an in-person interview because I didn't have anyone else to do it. And she went and did it, and it was awesome. So sometimes it's just having the right friends, but other times it's just having the right voice.
Also getting, access to things, whether it be like the parties that you mentioned at E3 and otherwise, it's just kind of be persistent and keep on kind of nudging them, not being a nag, but for year over year, just follow back up again. I mean, it took me 6 months to finally unlock the movie screeners and finally get the regular invites to the movie screenings all the time. It just took a while of finding the right person and then building the relationship and not being a dick and continually showing them, like, look, here's reviews that we're putting out, whether or not you let us into the screening sessions. And then once those get built up, they're like, okay, you're not fly by night, because you can't imagine how many times that we see posted online. Like I'm helping out the folks with Fanime, and that we post. People actually post online. I want to try and we're going to put in for press because we don't want to pay for tickets. And the press reps will see that stuff, and that's what kind of gives that entry level of journalists a bad name, because you're never sure, are they actually real? Are they legit, or is it just someone not willing to pay the $20, $50, $100 to get into the door?
Didn't somebody do that? Didn't somebody do that on my wall when I was talking to you
Yes.
once about Silicon Valley?
Yeah.
Dude, it happens all the time. If someone knows that you are connected to an event or to a website or something like that, they're gonna occasionally say, hey, so what can you get me?
Wink, wink.
Not, hey, how's it going? Start with how's it going. Always. Just, how's it going? So what can you get me? Yeah, no.
You wouldn't do that in D&D. Why would you do that in real life?
Sitting
That's
there,
not how that works.
I was doing some of the press approvals
Play with them.
for Silicon Valley, and I can't tell you how many people that would ask with podcasts that wanted to come in to do the show. And more often than not, I'm always happy to give a new folks, but it has to be within reason. It's when that new, young, 50 listener podcast, and they've got a crew of, can I have 7 tickets? Because I've got my sound engineer, I've got 2 photographers, no, here, you can have 2. You're new, you're starting out, you can have 2. And they're like, but our photographers, you're a podcast, you get 2. Use your phone. But other people will definitely take advantage of it, because they'll come in and then they're like, fine, we'll just put in for 2. And then they get there and they're like, can we add 10 to the people at the check-in table? It's like, no, thank you for playing.
I always feel extremely beholden when I get I have to deliver if I get a press pass, because there's people standing in line for hours and paying good money to get in here.
Yeah.
I walked through the door, got a press pass, I have to deliver content now.
Oh, it was like for Aggressive, I was helping them out. They had a rep who wanted to do an event, put him into a major event, and she ended up not delivering then or since. And that jeopardizes the relationship with ReadPop, right?
Yeah.
And so that's the sort of thing is whenever you get a badge, you have to do whatever the stipulations were as far as coverage, and usually it's just send them a couple links after the fact about do a gallery, do an event review, and then do an article about something. It takes like a couple of hours.
And life happens. That's the other thing. If you do sign up for an event like this with any type of outlet for any type of coverage, and something happens and you're not able to deliver what you said you were going to, just talk to your person, talk to your contact. It's not that scary to say, my car broke down and I couldn't get there for the first 2 hours of this thing. Okay, dude, life happens, totally get it. Don't say, I couldn't write anything, and yet post all day long on your Facebook and Twitter.
But you're not,
That's how you get fired.
But you're not bitter.
I'm very bitter. Very bitter.
And coming from a person who's just recently started to do this again and start doing this, in conventions, Marianne is my friend, but at conventions she's also my boss. And if she tells me to do something, I'm going to do my best to do the thing because I'm working. Like I'm having fun, but I'm working. And you wouldn't give less than, a certain percentage of your capabilities at a regular job. This could also be a regular job if you actually, put in the effort. So it's not hard to put in the effort. You go see a super cool panel. One of the last ones I talked about was I got to be in a room with Nichelle Nichols. Oh darn! I'm not going to write about that. Yeah, this is the worst day ever. I'm going to go run around and not write about that. That's not how that works. If you get a chance to do the cool thing, you should write about the cool thing.
Because chances are there's somebody out there somewhere who wants to know about your experience doing the cool thing.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are talking about E3, and I expect it's probably similar for San Diego in that one thing I've discovered for a lot of people that volunteer that say, yeah, I'll be part of crew and I'll get a badge, they are simply deeply unprepared for the amount of work it is. For how much time you spend, especially at large major events like that things start early with keynotes and they go towards parties at the end of the day. And more so if you're a photographer, because then at the end of the day, you don't need to dump all of your shit and drop it and upload it on hotel wireless networks that are already overloaded terribly. And that's just, that's one thing we found with a lot of people is like, they're like, oh, we're good for about, they have energy for about 3 or 4 hours and then they peter out. They're simply not a 16-hour for 4 days type of person. Where do you guys find, have you guys needed to go and recruit people for your crews at all, or do you have people enough coming up and just volunteering to help out?
I started with a huge crew. We started with a really big crew, and then the more we got into it, the less serious I realized a lot of them were, and now we're down to there's 3 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like it that way because I'm a control freak, but it's actually worked in the opposite. I don't look for people anymore now. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I do videos for SAC Anime's YouTube channel, and my crew has shrunk too. Like it started out with 4, but then life came up for them. So actually, at the last con, it at one point shrunk down to 1 person, and that was probably the most fun I've had.
Yeah.
Joey, I met you at Wizard World 2014, and it was just you, a microphone, and a tripod, and you were hustling, man. Like you were like a 5-man crew by yourself. It was impressive.
Oh, thanks. That was one I did just for my channel too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Kay made me get another crew, so I hired my friends. Not hired, no.
Drafted. It's like, hey, you want to come hang out for a convention for a day? Yeah, they're like, sure.
Also, don't hire your friends ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least pluck out the ones that you know that they're first and foremost interested in the gig.
Mm-hmm.
If they're interested in the gig first and then the event second, you'll have a good experience. If it's the other way around, then they'll go wandering off, or they'll get bored, or they didn't know what they're getting into.
Yeah.
Anybody actually out there, anybody write or cover or part of an outlet of some kind in the audience? No? Perry.
Yeah, Perry's trying to hide.
Yes, Perry's trying to hide.
He's napping.
The hardest working photographer in Sacramento.
Yeah.
It's true.
He was just taking a nap.
who I keep trying to, which actually, he's a good example. I've been trying, so had started doing photography a long time ago, but really journalistic photography for conventions and for Geek HQ, 5 years ago now, something like that, 3 years ago? Really, it seems like longer than 3. That now it's kind of like, all right, now is the time that he can begin parlaying that into calling up the local news stations or the newspaper and say, hey, I'll be your news photographer. And this stuff, starting at conventions and doing his hobby, becomes pro-am to when it can actually really become a job. And I've seen a number of people that make that leap from just being an online, either be a YouTuber or a written journalist, to getting enough cred and a library up that they can actually show it to a physical world editor and say, hey, look, I've got creds, I can do this. I don't have a trained draft certificate from college with a journalistic degree, but I've got a library and readership too. With Geek, are you guys mostly leveraging on your photo galleries and stuff, or are you guys expanding into written as well?
Can't have a gallery unless there's a written first.
Yeah.
The written goes up, then the galleries come out.
Why do you do it that way?
Because we really did need someone to write stuff.
Yeah.
So written pre-articles, post-articles, articles in general are important.
It helps with the SEO too a lot. Like if you just post up a photo gallery, it's gonna be hard to find it unless you got those keywords and stuff in your article.
Yeah, good.
Everything.
Actually, that's a good point, because really good SEO tracking and implementations can help wonders. Because if you don't have it, people may or may not find all your awesome content. I've seen some outlets that very much, almost all of their traffic isn't search engine, it's all Facebook links, which narrows down to it's only going to be your immediate kind of friends and family and wall and their feeds. But if people can search it and get it on a high hit on Google or Yahoo, if that still exists. Bing, man, it's all about Bing. Aww. I still think Lycos really is an underrated search tool.
Alta Vista?
Alta Vista. Totally.
Tell me what it was like when Carter was in office.
Actually, out there, what are people's favorite go-to outlets to go read from, whether it be video or reading?
And do you go for video content or written content?
Yeah. What do you got?
Well, whenever I see video content, I really like it when it's captioned. Because too often I can't have my sound on. I'm fortunate enough to be able to scroll through my phone at work on occasion, but I can't have that volume up.
Right.
Because that's distracting for other people. So if there are no captions on that video, I'm gone. I prefer written content for that reason. And I love following you, and I love following Aggressive Comics. I always love everything you write. But yeah, if anyone that makes videos, I know it takes a lot of time, but please caption your videos, not only for people like me, but for the deaf and hard of hearing as well. They like it.
Well, you know what? YouTube will also do it automatically now. Now, granted, it's not very good.
It's an algorithm, and it sucks.
Right, but when
it's so bad.
It is bad, but what it can do is it can get your basics.
Make us a new one, Tony.
I'm so
Jarvis
bad.
could do it.
You have no idea. When you put up a thing for deaf children in an elementary school of a YouTube page, and the algorithm, it's got captions, and the algorithm comes up, half of those words are cuss words. I will tell you that right
yes.
now. And
That's not good.
No.
Yeah.
Tell your friends.
Tony Stark says no.
Tony Stark says no.
Anybody else have any favorite outlets? Or just, do you guys take stuff video or written? Which do you guys prefer? Or memes? It's all about the memes.
Yeah, memes.
I like all of the above. I think the first thing I that catches my eye is video, but the thing that stays with me longer is probably the written.
Yeah.
Like, I'll actually get irritated if I think it's going to be an article that I'm interested in, and I'll go and I have to watch a video.
Yeah.
Like, take it as slow as bring it.
I have the exact same experience.
You want to know, if you're going to go see a video, you're going to see a video. If it's going to be written, it's going to be written. You don't want to bait and switched.
No, not at all.
And too many ad click-throughs.
Bait and switch. Got it.
No! Top 10 list.
No.
Oh, God.
Just get out.
Each number is a different
fine
page.
if it's on one.
Oh, yeah. Each number is a different
Oh my god.
Where's the top 20
And
things
make sure you put a few
90s
filler
kids
pages
remember?
in there.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. Why would they
Every other page is an ad.
We hate it, but people keep doing it for some
Yeah.
reason. Stop it. It's your fault.
It's true. Stop clicking.
No, the
Part of the
people who
problem.
are
Cheers.
reading it are not the ones in this room. It's everybody else.
What culture?
So let's go down, and we're just about out of time. So where can they find you? What's your Twitter handle and what sites? Matt?
AggressiveComics.com, also on Facebook. If you like the memes, we post many memes.
And Harkonnen Knife Fight?
And Harkonnen Knife Fight.
Conan Knife Fight.
Yes.
When?
You can find me on Aggressive Comics, occasionally Ace of Geeks. I think my Twitter is Gwendol's42.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Also Harkonnen Knife Fight.
You can find me on Twitter at Ferris Wheel Pro. The Pro is short for Ferris Productions, but couldn't fit the entire thing in there. And YouTube.com/Ferris Wheel Productions, and I write for NerdReactor.com.
It's an idiot's array across the board. The logo, it's Ghouls and Goblins. YouTube, Instagram, an idiot's array.
Just video game bang everywhere. Video game, not video gang bang. Complete. That's our after-hours show. Which you feel free to check it out if you want. I mean, video. Not even you, Jeramie?
I kind of want to. Not gonna lie.
Video game bang. That's Twitter, Video Game Bang. Just Google it. It's in iTunes. It's in Google Play. We do a podcast. Really appreciate you guys check it out. NerdReactor.com is where we do the writtens.
Awesome. Thank you guys very much. Have an awesome rest of your afternoon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Oh, look, you have 20 million these things. All the things.
I want to keep it till it's time to go.
Thank you, guys.
Oh no, thank you.